Patrick McNeil joined now at the intermission by 20-year-old Moncton Wildcats for Jacob Stewart as the Eagles and Wildcats playing a weekend series here. We're actually recording this prior to the first game. Jacob, how excited are you to actually play games against the Eagles after not seeing them last season?
Super excited. It's been a long time, like you said, since I played there. I have a lot of family close by who are pretty excited.
Would Cape Breton or Halifax be the default home game for you, or both maybe?
Both of them are pretty equal for me. I got a lot of family from Halifax, and I got a lot of family down in Cape, so I haven't been to Cape in a long time, like you said, so it'll be fun.
You were on that TELUS Cup team that won Nationals 2017 with the Cape Breton West Islanders and really captured the imagination of Cape Breton as well as the eastern part of the mainland. Just tell us how amazing that experience was and if you had any idea of how much attention you were getting in this part of the world while you were out in BC.
That was definitely one of the best moments of my life out there for sure. It's funny you actually mentioned that because I was actually looking back at some memories from that today. Just thinking back and remembering all the good times there is. It's one of the best memories I have. Just going to TELUS, go to BC with your best friends who you grow up playing hockey with. We were pretty fortunate and we had a very good team there. And Colton Ellis was our goalie. We had a pretty good goalie to back us up and I wouldn't trade it for anything else in the world.
Also on that team is Sean Stewart, your cousin, and you get the chance to play together on the Moncton Wildcats as well. We talked about family earlier. How great has it been for you that so much of your junior career and your U18 career you get to play with someone who was so close to you?
It made the transition super easy for me. Sean was always like my best friend growing up too. It was great. I think this is the first year he hasn't been on my team since we've been kids. It's a different feeling this year not seeing him around every day, but we're older now. We're kind of used to that part of the game, but a lot of guys don't have their family close by, and I have a guy I grew up with right beside me every day, so it made that part of the game a lot easier for me.
Basically 4.5 years in Moncton for you by the time this year is over. And I wanted to touch on that first year because after the TELUS Cup, you end up playing in Pictou County, so you're close to home again. Walk us through the decision to play Junior A at 16 because sometimes we'll see guys go back to U18, sometimes Junior A. Why did you think Junior A was the right fit for you?
I think that choice is definitely circumstantial. I'm a pretty big guy. I haven't grown at all since I've been drafted, I don't think. I even got a little bit lighter, but for me, at that point in my career, it was more getting ready and playing good against bigger, older players. There wasn't much more I could do on the offensive side of my game, so I just had to go and just get used to the speed and get used to playing against some big bodies. I'm not the guy who's going to score 3 goals a game, but I'll be on the forecheck every time, F1 and stuff, so the Junior A decision, it was pretty easy for me leaving Moncton. Then when I was 16 there, when I was cut, they told me if I played a Junior A that I'd get called up a lot. So that played a big role in the decision as well. And I don't have any regrets for sure.
You certainly did get called up a lot. And I'm wondering if you know this. Are you aware that you are the last member of the Moncton Wildcats that played a home game at the Coliseum?
No, I didn't know that. That is a pretty cool piece of information there, yeah. I remember the Coliseum pretty well. I spent quite a bit of time there when I was 16, when I was called up, and it was a great rink, but it definitely wasn't the Avenir Center that we have now. That's definitely a pretty cool piece of trivia there.
You mentioned the Avenir Center, of course. The Wildcats were trying to christen that, so to speak, in their second year in that 2019-2020 campaign where you guys had such a loaded team. Your last game of the season ends up being against the Eagles, a 3-0 victory on a Wednesday night. I remember it well. Probably everybody does. Walk us through what the mood was like for your team when you realized you weren't going to have a chance to chase that title.
It was pretty down low in the dumps. We spent a whole season preparing for that goal right at the end of the year, Mammoth Cup. And everybody has their roles too when it comes down to it. My role on that team, I spent a lot of time in the stands and stuff, but when you look at the guys you have out there on the ice and you see the type of players we had Elliot Desnoyers, Zach Leroux, and guys like Jacob Hudson on our fourth line some nights. Our team was just so good. Not to be able to see that through and see where that we would have taken. It was pretty sad at the end of the day, but a lot of teams had to go through the same thing, and it was just very unfortunate.
One of my favorite things about going to Moncton is getting to talk to Brent DeBourne, who's a super fan, watching the game in his wheelchair. And you seem to have a very good relationship with him. I know you visited him when he had a surgery at the IWK a few years ago. Tell us about your relationship with Brent.
He's a great guy and a great fan. He brings a great energy to the rink, and he just loves being there. It makes it fun for the players as well, seeing a guy like that who just loves to be there and just loves watching us play. You kind of get that feeling that he loves seeing us. So when you go there and you have a guy who's very excited and always fired up. It's a great atmosphere to have at the rink. We're very lucky to have a guy like Brent there to cheer us on.
Being fired up, that is definitely Brent's trademark. We're thankful for that for sure. Reading about you, one of the things you mentioned working on was your skating, because that can be tough if you're at an awkward size when you're in your teens. Tell us about the progress you've had in improving your skating over the years.
I spent some time up in Halifax, up with Jill Plandowski quite a bit, especially once I made the jump up to junior. I needed to work on my skating. It's still not perfect, but the steps I've taken since then are definitely like noticeable now. But like you said, when I was 6'1", when I was 16, my skating was definitely awkward and my stride length wasn't great, and it was hard with the speed at the game. It took me a good couple of years to really get used to it. I thought last year it really showed off and it got a lot better for me.
The Wildcats, much like the Eagles, I think, look up at the other teams in the Maritime Division because some of the other teams have so many veteran players coming back. What kind of goals do you think the Wildcats have set for this year, given that you're going to be facing a lot of tough teams on a regular basis in the Maritimes?
We're aware of like who we're playing against and the type of players we have, but it doesn't really change our game plan. We just want to go in there every night and give 100% effort. When you're giving 100% effort and you're playing the right way, the end result is either you're going to win, you're going to lose, but you can't stress too much on the losses if you're going out there every game and working hard. You're going to play against some really talented teams in our division, like you said. You can't think too hard on the all-stars on the team. You just have to play them hard.
Lastly, I mentioned you're in your 20-year-old season. I'm sure you're trying to enjoy the ride, but any ideas on what comes next for Jacob Stewart? I have been told you're pretty good in school.
That's funny. I try to do well in school. We'll see how this year goes in terms of hockey. I want to have a good year with the team, but personally as well, I want to have a good year. See where that takes me. University is a good option for me. I grew up in Antigonish. There's a nice university there, so we'll see where we go from there, but a lot of time to think about that, and we still have a full season ahead of us here.
No spoilers. Jacob could be joining the ranks of Declan Smith at St. Evax down the line. Thanks for this. Best of luck this weekend and best of luck this season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's Jacob Stewart of the Moncton Wildcats in his final year in the QMJHL. You're listening to Uniglass Plus, Cape Breton Eagles Hockey on 1270 CJCB.